Elton, what's up,
What up,
man?
man?
How you doing?
Man, I can't complain, bro.
Look,
I'm
look,
out here in Bali.
good morning to you, right?
Yes, it's 8:45 a.m., so it's not that bad, man.
Oh,
How you
okay,
doing?
okay. I'm doing great. I'm doing great. We got to start. How did you end up in Bali on quarantine? Like, what's up with that?
It was on purpose. This is not a mistake. This isn't me being stranded. Don't feel bad for me. Don't no woe is
He
me.
got stuck in Bali. Oh my gosh.
No, this was 100% premeditated stucking. No, man. So it's crazy because I had actually started a journey of like traveling the world for this year as of last August. So, I had already had that put in place before before the whole coronavirus epidemic. And so, or pandemic, I'm sorry, I don't know the difference. You know how like
I know, people getting real itchy with the words like it's
I
not
get
an
real
epidemic,
itchy
it's a
like
pandemic.
there, and effect. They be wearing me out. But but no, man. So honestly, so what's the interesting thing of like my journeys this year? So I've been to 10 countries this year. Just
And
in
it's
last
only March
month.
though.
It's only March, and I've literally seen the virus progress through each country. So I've been like on the ground seeing. I've started in Bali, then I went to Singapore, Myanmar, Cambodia. Then I spent all of February in Africa. So I saw Africa. They don't play, man. Like when you go to Africa, they check your temperature before they check your passport.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I just saw somebody posted something. Africa is like in like how we were in the U.S. Panic buying. Everybody is running around. They were like that. Were they like that when you were there?
No. So I was in Africa, like I said, like all of February. So it wasn't a situation where it was panic, but it looked more like precaution.
Okay. So in Bali, go ahead.
Okay. No, go ahead.
So I was gonna say in Bali, what is the temperature there? Are they extreme with the measures, or are y'all locked down, or what?
So it's two very interesting things that are happening. So the first is there's not a ton of cases in Bali. I think maybe one or two, and that was kind of like from a tourist, because Bali is very tourist driven. But in Jakarta, which is like the capital of Indonesia, it's kind of taken over there. So what Bali's doing is all of our tourists have left. So because all the tourists are gone back to their respective countries, then that means that a lot of the bigger clubs have shut down, but not because of quarantine, but because of lack of business.
Lack of business. Okay, so Bali's a smaller country. It's not a big. It's populated. It's not very populated.
Yeah, Bali's an island in Indonesia, so it's like, you know what I'm saying? So just imagine like Hawaii or something.
Gotcha.
Off the coast of the United States. So, and another thing, which is the funny part, is that they have this huge celebration. It's almost like the Indonesian New Year. It's called Nyepi. Say that with me. Nyepi.
Nyepi.
And what they do is it's always in March, and on like the Wednesday before the event, they have this big ceremony where they make all this noise to get all the evil spirits and scare them away. And then the next day is a day of silence and quarantine. And so that was naturally in their culture that this happens. And it randomly just coincided with the international quarantine.
Wow. So you have family in the States. So like, are you concerned? Like, have you spoken to them? What's going on with that?
Yeah. So surprisingly, of course, I have parents, loved ones. My sister just had a baby less than like 4 months ago. So I check in with them daily. And they're in Miami. My parents are in Miami, and my sister's in Alabama. And I have friends on both of the coasts, and everybody's being very responsible. That's the thing that I love to see, is that we're all being so responsible. They're taking the precautions. They're not going to work. They're staying inside, and they're really using this time for good, to like reflection and Netflix and learning. Teach yourself something new. Like my sister's practicing recipes every day. So I think I'm looking at the bright side of that.
Absolutely. I'm curious. The media in Bali, are they reporting what's taking place? You know how we can watch the media all over the world. Are they saying that the U.S. is this, and are they talking about it there?
So I'll be honest. I don't watch the news.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
I don't watch the news, but I'm not oblivious to what's going on. And so I joined a co-working space. So, you know, much like a WeWorks or whatever, they have a co-working space this is a huge place for digital nomads. And so I get a lot of my information and the news from there. And of course, you know, my mother sends me 2,000 articles a day. Anything, like, you saw that meme that says, like, I don't know what news report my mom watches, but it's the one that talks about all the danger in whatever country I'm in. And that's what, so I get all of the information. I get more of a filtered, you know, kind of like information from the world. But one thing that's happened in Bali is that because a lot of people come here and they can get visa on arrivals. So what happens in Bali, you can stay for 30 days. You don't have to get a visa. You can get a visa on arrival and you can extend it to 60 days. And what just happened recently is that they just extended it for you, and they'll keep extending it indefinitely because they don't want people to go to the immigration offices and make it a place where people collect and could possibly. So it's kind of like a benefit. So I don't have to go to the immigration office. I don't have to continue to extend my stay here. I can just get granted that opportunity, man. So have you been to Bali before?
I wish. Look, when you invite me to come, like,
come on, man.
I'm there.
Come on, man. But no, like, and I want to bring up that decision too, because I was actually supposed to be back in the States. I was going to bring my journey to a little small break on March 22nd. I had some projects that I got to work on, but all of the projects have been ceased. And so I said, I might as well, if I'm going to be stranded somewhere,
that's the place to be. That's the place to be. Speaking of the projects, because we know you're one of the hosts for Lens on Culture, as well as you're the brand creator for Creators of Color. Has this interrupted your flow, your work, or at in any capacity?
No, and I think that's an amazing question. My goal for this year of 2020 was to be location independent. I've grown. I just got my passport 10 years ago, and in those 10 years, I've been to over 80 countries. And in those 10 years, I figured out there's so many different ways to live your life, bro. Like, I've met so many people that have designed a life where they can live anywhere, they can work any hours they want, and they don't even necessarily have to be millionaires. They just come to Bali and you could be a millionaire. It's, you know, a million Balinese dollars is $70 US. So I'm already balling, man. But yeah, in terms of my other projects, I was always figuring out ways to build things because this virus has taught me that that people are going to start working from home more. Yeah. I almost feel like I might have been ahead of the curve a little bit, you know, because people are now being able to have to be more productive at home.
Absolutely.
People have to teach their kids at home.
Yeah, go ahead. Absolutely. The only thing I'm thinking of is like those people in service industries, because you're a photographer as well. So, yeah. I mean, but with a photographer, you have more freedom. You can travel and do stuff. But then you have service providers like hairdressers and stuff like that who are kind of have a clientele. But they're going to have to start figuring out other ways, you know?
No, but even with photography, man, you know, the great prophet Andre 3000 had this line that says, if you don't move your feet, then I don't eat. Like, so historically as a photographer, I needed to have jobs, and people in the industry, whether it was celebrities or big companies, they needed shoots. Those shoots aren't happening, man. And I have a ton of my friends that are, you know, in the photography industry, that are stylists, that are filmmakers, that right now everybody's feeling it, man. This isn't lost on anybody. And I don't want to I don't want to be, I want to be more sensitive to the people that are living check to check. So it's kind of like, that's why I don't really post about it, because I'm okay, but I can understand somebody who relies on this for their livelihood, and this is really being something that's like detrimental to their whole livelihoods, man. So,
Yeah,
you know, my
yeah.
heart goes out to everybody, because I know that this is weird. This is weird.
Weird.
This is so weird.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna ask
That's,
you. You don't really watch the news much, but you're definitely an intellectual. So just in the grand scheme of things, like, what do you make of this in your mind? Like, what do you really think this is all about? The bigger picture. You don't want to say?
I plead in the fifth.
We have to talk offline about that.
I am pleading the fifth. I think that I try not to get lost in any conspiracies. I try not to get lost in any anything bigger than what needs to be done. And I think that whatever is happening, it is going to cause a change that is for the better.
Okay. I trust that. I trust that.
That's my politically correct, conspiracy-free answer. I think that the world wanted and welcomed change, and here we are. We're changing.
So can we change the administration along with that, or like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? At least for the U.S. government. You know,
you trying to get me talking about politics, bro? Like it's everybody. I will say this. I really believe that even though we may look at somebody in power or in our leadership that doesn't make the right decisions that we like, you have to think about it. When other people were in office, like Obama, there's a half of a country that hated everything he did. You know, and so just because now we're on the other half of that, then we have those same sentiments, but that still doesn't negate that somebody's reality or somebody's truth is somebody's truth. So, you know, this is a weird time. It's
very
weird.
Very
it is
weird.
so weird. I don't know. And you know, as somebody that's kind of like on the outside, kind of looking in, I have my thoughts, but you know, my biggest concern is that the safety of my friends and my family and people like you, that y'all doing good, man. I always call people and check on their mental state to see how they're doing.
That's important. Speaking of the mental state, real quick, you were in I don't know where you were, but you contracted something that kind of changed your whole hookup. Just give us a brief synopsis on that experience.
Yeah, so you know, famously or infamously, I contracted malaria. I was shooting my show Lens of Culture in Ghana in August, and you know, because I am of West African descent, my mother's from Liberia. I was like, the mosquitoes, they're not gonna get me. I'm good. Like, I really had this confidence, and because I've traveled to so many countries in Africa, I didn't want to take the malaria medicine. Come to find out, not only did I get malaria, but it manifested in Brazil where I was living at the time. So it was a rough time. I seriously almost died. And you know, it was life changing. It causes you to awaken in a way that you don't really see coming. And you know, with the help, it was great that I got into Brazil too, because Brazil has one of the best infectious disease hospitals in all of South America. Wow. And I was in the hospital for 6 days, lost like 20 pounds, and I didn't have to pay a penny.
Where they do that at?
Right, Brazil. So it was best that I got malaria in Brazil. So you saying, like, that's my outlook on life. I'm the optimal optimist. And so I look at it like, I got malaria. It caused me to make a change that I needed to change, but I got it in Brazil, so I wouldn't have to pay $80,000 on the back end of it. So, so that allows me to be more empathetic to this state, because I understand how not only is it to get a virus that you can't even explain that can almost kill you, but also in a foreign country.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Well, brother, I appreciate you joining me. What you about to do is 8:45, 9 o'clock there in the morning. What's on your day for the day? What's on your
Yeah, man. So let me give y'all. This is my. It's raining now. Hold on. I want to show y'all. So this is my.
Look at
This
that.
is my. This is where I'm living. But it's a little rain, so I'm a little quarantined.
Yeah, right.
But no, I was getting ready to go fake workout. Try to go do some running and some calisthenics, and just live, man. The food here is great, so I'm eating fresh and healthy, and just trying to keep my immune system up because Bali does not have the best hospital situation here either. So I want to make sure that I don't get sick out here.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So when are you leaving? I mean, what's your plans?
Bro, so that's the thing. I was supposed to be back in the States now. I was supposed to work on like an influencer project in San Francisco. Then I had some other projects in New York. So now I don't know, man. I'm taking it because what I'm seeing, like even in Los Angeles and New York, they're extending this thing until May, right?
Yeah.
Or April. And so I'm keeping my ears to the streets with that. I have a ticket to come back on the 15th, but
yeah. I mean, you're in a good place. You safe. So I mean, if you have to stay, you're in a good place to stay. You know.
Yeah, man. I really. I'm gonna sit still. I see my cousin is in here. Like, sit still.
Look, everybody nervous. Look, you don't even notice. U.S. is on just alert. They like don't go nowhere.
It's yeah. I mean, if I could have any message, to anybody who's watching this, it would be to use this opportunity to really, really focus on any shift you want to make in your life. Like if you had something that you wanted to let go, whether it's physical or relationship, a belief that something that was stopping you from doing it, let that thing go, man, because that's what I've been working on for these last 6 months on myself is really just letting go of the things that don't serve me. And this is the perfect time to be still, watching Netflix, but when you're not watching Netflix, work on something, create something, or figure out something that you can do to really help change your life a little bit for the better.
I agree, my brother. Well, I appreciate you joining me. Enjoy your day, your Friday, your weekend. And we'll see you when you get back in the States. Be safe.
Yes, sir, bro. Thank you so much for this, man. I love what you're doing.
No problem. I'll be talking to you.
All right, man.
All right. Peace. Let me see. My brother Myles is on. Let me add him. Myles, what's up,
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing, man?
Good. Just tapping in with you. We've been talking. I was just on with good brother Elton, who's in Bali.
Yeah, I caught a bit of it.
Yeah. You're in the Bahamas. So
Bahamas, yes, sir.
What's the climate out there right now with all of this?
Man, so they just had an update today. So we have a total of 9 cases out here. We are practicing social distancing, so we're on a 24-hour curfew. We're not on lockdown, thankfully. So we're still allowed to go about for essential items, but they aren't allowing us to congregate or socialize or anything like that. They're trying to get everyone to stay indoors, to stay in their homes or in their immediate areas and whatnot. I guess, for the most part, it's similar to elsewhere. People are a little skeptical of the climate and what these changes will bring. It's not as bad as it is in other places, but it's fairly fresh for us. I think this is our second week, third week maybe. But it's more precautionary for us than anything else. There hasn't been any like crazy outbreaks or anything yet, so we're positive that we're going to get a handle on it.
Wow, that's what I was going to ask, because you said the number is 9. I know Bahamas is not a huge country, so that's relatively low for your population. Yeah,
but the thing is, there hasn't been a lot of tests done as yet, so we do expect that number to increase. But we're hoping that it doesn't increase too drastically, because we have a lot of tourists that come in town, and we just spring break was going on, so there were a lot of like spring breakers that came into town and whatnot. And then we have Bahamians that also travel quite a bit. So there's no telling who came into contact with who had what, and who passed it on to who when it got here. So we're just kind of being overly cautious. We definitely want to get ahead of the curve. So we instilled the curfew. The government instilled the curfew for us. And the curfew is going to last at least until the 31st of this month, which is the next few days. But it's a possibility that it'll be extended till the 30th of April. So it might maybe
Okay.
30 as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. How long? But you're a world traveler. You travel all the time. Does this make you nervous now about getting back into that routine?
Nah, not at all. I think for me, it was more so the hassle of traveling as opposed to, being afraid to travel. It's just like, the lines, the quarantine issues that come about because of this. So I think maybe about 4 weeks ago, we just kind of canceled all of our upcoming trips until we got a better understanding of what it was. And it seems as if we're going to have to cancel quite a few things that we had on schedule for this year. We're only in March, so we still got a few months before some of these things come up on the calendar. But we'll have to gauge the status of the economy and how people are doing. Because we want to be sensitive to that as well. But as far as me, man, there's really no fear. I've been weirdly upbeat during this whole thing, man, and I think it's just because of my experience with these things. I'm always, I try to be as healthy as possible as far as like my daily routine. So just trying to be positive and finding opportunity during these times. That's kind of what I'm doing.
Yeah. Now you guys have the church there, Bahamas Faith Ministry, a huge congregation. What's been the feel with the congregants and the parishioners there? Are they nervous? Are they settled? How are they responding?
Pretty settled. Not too much nerves. Again, because we don't have a large case number out there, and it's not an outbreak here yet. So I think people are cautious but relaxed. The reason why we initially we were on a 12-hour curfew. But folks were just using it as time off. So they were going to the beach still. They were socializing still. So the government kind of came down a little harder and was like, okay, we're going to switch it to a 24-hour curfew. So only essential travel is encouraged. So yeah, I mean, the church is fine. We've been doing church online. Well, we did church online last week. So that was the first Sunday. We'll do it again this week. And then we'll just see how it goes, and we'll plan accordingly.
Yeah, I asked Elton this question. I'm gonna ask you because both of you brothers are smart, wise. The grand scheme, the bigger picture of this. Just in your own personal mind, what do you think this is all about? Is this more to this than just a virus? What do you think? Okay, I got you. Don't nobody want to run with me today. Okay, I feel you. We live TV. We'll talk later.
I'll let you know that off the record.
Okay. Because I know I'm talking to an intellectual, so it's not somebody that's just no fluff, But okay, we'll talk offline.
I got some theories. I got a few theories. I'm watching. Yeah.
I got you.
But I think it's a lot more fair that has been injected, and not taking anything for granted, because I think it is a serious issue. But I think the news media they've been kind of adding fuel to the fire and kind of causing folks to panic. And I think that's that has been the more negative experience of all of this. I think it is what it is. I mean, everyone is into how can we get the most amount of eyes on us, how we get the most amount of clicks, for our platforms or whatnot. So, but again, I'm not taking away the seriousness of the issue. But, part of me thinks that everything's going to be fine. We're going to get a handle of it. unfortunately, there has been some areas who haven't taken it seriously as they should in the beginning. But hopefully, others have learned from the mistake of others, and we're going to flatten this curve at some point.
Yeah. You're a healthy brother, so give us some tips on your routine as far as staying healthy during this time.
Yeah, man. So it's been difficult, man. Being home,
eating all that guava duff.
Yo, man. So I'm trying to stick to not just eating anytime because you're home, you're confined to the house. Every time you get up, it's like, okay, what can I snack on? What can I eat or whatever? So I try to stick to a routine. So I try to get up and do a bit of working out for like maybe 45 minutes to an hour each morning. And then I try to eat, healthy, balanced meals. Not too much snacking. I try to drink lots of water. And then, I use this time to relax. If I want to catch up on some TV shows or catch up on some news or whatever, I do it. Read a book or listen to an audio book or read a passage in the Bible or something. I make sure I get those stuff in. But at the same time, I try to be productive in my day. So we're working on a few things. We've been working on a few things within the organization that I now have a lot of time to focus on. So I'm really focusing on that and getting those stuff done. So I think this quarantine has been that's a positive aspect that I'm taking out of it. I have time to focus on things that were kind of put on the back burner because of I was going a lot, especially this past month. So I have time to just sit down and really work on a few things.
Yeah, it's funny.
So yeah, man. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, it's funny you say that because I just heard a major comedian who was on his live talking, and he said, "Man, I've been gone for like a year straight. Like I've just touring and doing this." He said, "I haven't seen my home. I ain't seen my kids." He said, "I'm loving this. I can actually have a routine, get up, see my kids, And I'm just looking at somebody like you who's just as busy and always gone. This might be a good time for you to just recoup. You know what I mean?"
Yeah, no, it is, and I think it allows me to even try to be creative within this situation, just to find different opportunities that are coming up, or that looks like it's going to be on the horizon, to be ahead of the curve and just recognizing those things. So I'm since 2001 when the market first initially crashed, I always told myself, whenever something like this happens, I'm always going to try and be positive about it and look for the different opportunities that come out of it. Because, I think this whole issue is going to change the way we work, change the way we do business in this world, change the way we network, we socialize. I think it's going to spawn a lot of new ideas, new businesses. And I want to be a part of that creativity.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, brother, I appreciate you joining me. I know it's getting late in the hour, but give us just a little quick tip on just how to stay. You're a man of God, a man of faith, on how to stay positive. What can we do during this time just to stay focused and get to the end of this thing with peace?
Yeah, one of my favorite quotes is "Nothing changes until your mind changes." I think that's a quote that I've been I keep repeating to myself on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And, that just means to me, within every situation that you're in, whatever the experience is, whatever the good is, whatever the bad is, it's all about your perspective, right? Don't allow the situations to pull you down, to not allow you to evolve or bring yourself out of that situation or to develop as an individual. So try to be as positive as possible. I know for some it's difficult, but faith, when we talk about faith, faith isn't just believing in something for it to happen and it happens. True faith is believing in something to happen and it doesn't happen, but you still have faith, right? You continue to be faithful, continue to believe, and to trust that, okay, this part of it didn't work out, but something better is on the way. That's the perspective I wanted to encourage people to have. So it's all about perspective. It's all about your mindset, and just being positive, man. So I'm going to leave that word with you guys.
Absolutely. Well, Brother Myles, I appreciate you. You be safe, continued, and we're going to get through this thing stronger and better.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
All right. I'll be talking with you.
All right, man. Take it easy.
All right.